Okay, hello and welcome back to my live stream. We are completely changing tack here. I've finished live streaming Andromeda 6. The games that I've backed aren't available yet. Just taking longer to produce them than the developers anticipated, which is understandable. So I am live streaming a game by a new creator. This is their very first game. It's called Travelers and Tales. And the player is playing a character named Journey. The name is customizable. A bard with the most important skill in the party, the ability to make decisions. I love it. Right there. You and your party are wandering adventurers in search of coin. Luckily, a villager offers you a quest to pull you into something more than you bargained for. So I'm really interested in this premise, and apparently each of these characters on the main screen are potential love interests. Lots of them you can do the correct mouse. Because I'm reading from my desktop and playing on my laptop, so I have both my mouses next to each other, so trying to remember which one to use is interesting. So customizable name and pronoun selection, optional romantic scenes with any of your party members, labeled clearly with flirt, replayability, certain choices you make will lead to different versions of scenes and options, and CG, remarkable CG. The game is free on itch. But if you'd like to donate, there are files that you can download of the in-game CG. I have not donated. I'm hoping to once I have some money. So the itch page lists each of the potential love interests, but I'm not going to read that to you since we're going to be playing the game. So let's get started. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. So, right off the bat, what's her name? Do you want to stick with the default? I rarely do, because it just makes things easier. And already grabbing my dice for future, because I have not played this game before. I saved it specifically to live stream my very first playthrough, because it's so much more fun that way. I have so many names in my head and my mind's gone blank. Come on, brain, work with me here. No. Melina. There we go. It was, I remember I mistyped a name, and I thought, oh, that's pretty, but that's not correct. So, I take notes on decisions I make for live streams, just in case. So, this is Travelers and Tales. So, Melina. Pronouns. It's me. Okay, so, I know that I first would go for the she, her pronouns. But let's let the dice choose. If I can open the bag. There we go. I spent part of the morning decorating for Christmas. No problem. We're not even done. We haven't set up the Christmas tree because I have a cat who loves to climb things and loves to play with things. Everything is a toy, even my hair. So we leave the tree, we don't put up the tree until close to Christmas and then take it down right after Christmas. So I have a D6, so 1 or 4, she, her, 2 or 5, he, him, 3 or 6, they, them. So. You're a little too enthusiastic. 1. The story begins along Champion's Way, a winding road through the forest. All types of travelers make their way along the trail, most heading for the grand city of Heartcliff. My brain wants to say Heathcliff. Trees dot the landscape in every shade of orange and gold. A cool wind picks up and rustles the leaves, causing one to flutter down and join the ever-growing piles that coat the forest floor. Let me save this before I forget. And change the music just a little softer. I'm having trouble hearing myself. Glass back to the road behind us. I've been traveling with my companions for the past few weeks, going wherever the wind takes us. A signpost on the side of the road directs to Maple Rest, a little town that Champion's Way passes through. Traveling has been long and weary, and we've been in need of gold and a place to rest. Okay. So, handy dandy D4, odd number first option, even number second option. 1. You could always save our money and camp out in the woods again. It is a beautiful day out. You lot can do whatever you want, but I will be enjoying a night's sleep without a tree root in my back. Falling leaves crunch beneath our feet as we walk. Alforil trails his hand along low hanging branches. The leaves come free and swirl around him before settling on the ground. He plucks one and it blooms from green to orange to a deep red and flutters from his hand. So I wonder what his thing is. Clearly pointed ears indicates elf or half-elf. Green suggests druid, but there's a symbol hanging from his belt. So maybe paladin or cleric? The charm hanging on his belt, the symbol of his goddess, Sophine, glows faintly. Zaniri takes the lead, keeping a keen eye out in the woods around us. Her axe may be sheathed, but she's never unprepared for a fight. Oh boy. Big buff orc woman. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. She stops for a moment, taking a deep breath. She looks up at a beam of sunlight filtering in through the trees. In the distance, there's a raven's call. Aura is trailing behind us, entertaining himself on this monotonous walk by kicking up leaves and making gusts of wind to blow them around. So we have a he, him, she, her, and they, them companion. If anyone knows me, they know where my brain is heading as to who I would want to romance. I think back on the last 2 weeks of traveling with my companions. We run into a lot of danger and teamed up when we realized there is safety in numbers. Indeed. The cozy town of Maple Rest comes into our view. Little wooden houses surrounded by large gardens dot the town, and all the townsfolk are going about their day. We draw a few curious eyes as we come into town, but I figure they've seen all sorts with how many travelers pass through on the road. It's a quiet town. The only thing notable enough to catch my eye is a wooden notice board in the center of town. Notice boards like that are ubiquitous. They've even made it into Dragon Age games. but only the first one. Maybe there will be work for us there. We could use the gold. That's all it's enough to draw us to it. The board has a few pieces of parchment, some curled up at the corners. As we approach, a large raven perches on the top and peers down at us. It only stays a moment before taking off again. Uh-oh, a raven. Why is a raven like a writing desk? I don't know why that's what came to mind. Maybe because I watched Alice in Wonderland in the past week? We could collect herbs in the woods for this lady. Oh, and look, she'll give a whole gold piece for our trouble. Then Zaniri thinks down a fire. We could escort this merchant to Heartcliff. He needs a bodyguard. Do you really want to be responsible for someone like that? If we run into trouble along the road, he won't be able to defend himself. He wouldn't need to if we're there. I could carry him. The whole way there? She shrugs, looking sure of herself. I could do it, then he'd be safe. I don't doubt that, actually. But that seems like a lot of trouble. There's got to be something else. I search the notice board and see a leaflet with yesterday's date. Someone complained about strange noises coming from a nearby abandoned dungeon. What about that one? Elvira brushes her fingertips against the parchment. I bet it's an animal that's made it to a home. I don't want to fight a bear or anything. They're too cute. Before I can think too hard about the supposed cuteness of bears, there's a man who approaches the board. Sorry, just need to get through. We all step aside as he pins up a piece of parchment to the board. He pauses before securing it, glancing between us. I see him eyeing up Zaniri's axe. You wouldn't happen to be adventurers now, would you? I could feel the eyes of my fellow party members on me, waiting for me to speak up. We are indeed. Are you in need of an adventuring party? I try and get a glimpse of what's on the parchment he brought, but he lets it aside and holds the paper close to his chest. I am, unfortunately, my name is Francis Fishman. I admit, I've never had much cause to speak with adventurers before, even with all of them traveling through town. What exactly do you guys do? He looks between the four of us, seemingly trying to size us up. I wait for a moment for the others to introduce themselves. They all stay quiet, looking towards me again. Oh, the joys of being the face of the party. Okay, well, I'm Melina, and I'm a bard. Oh, so you sing songs and play an instrument and all that? I shift, the scimitars and their scabbards hanging at my waist, brush against my legs. Sort of. I play... Okay, so I get to pick which instrument. Awesome. So, of course, pulling out my dice here. 1 or 4, the pan flute. 2 or 5, a lute. 3 or 6, a lyre. So, a lute is a sort of... It's kind of like a guitar. A lyre is a bit like a handheld harp. And the pan flute, it's... I don't know if people have watched the Disney Peter Pan, but what Peter plays, that's a pan flute. So 3, the lyre. I can play the lyre very well, but I'm best with my blades, and I've been studying the magic. I looked with my companions, seeing if they want to speak. Now, they still seem to be imploring me to be their voice. This is Zaniri. She's incredibly strong, a real force of nature in battle, and she has very keen eyes. She nods at him, and he nods meekly back. Perhaps he's intimidated by her towering presence. This is Aura. They're quick on their feet and can slip in and out of the shadows with ease. They flash him a grin that's just cynical enough to make him pause. He offers a weary smile in return. And this is Elviro. He's our healer. He has a lot of experience in nature-based magic. Elviro gives him a friendly wave, and Francis waves awkwardly, a little confused. Right, well, that seems like an adventure party to me. So why do you need our help? I recall him saying that it is unfortunate, and that does not put me at ease. Nope. It wouldn't put me at ease either. Francis lets out a long sigh, his shoulders sagging. It's my wife, Charlotte. She's been missing. Last time I saw her was 3 days ago, and I haven't heard from her since. Please, I need someone to help me look for her. I'm so worried about her. Do you think she's in some sort of trouble? I know her. She wouldn't have left without saying goodbye. Right. I'm going to write down which instrument I chose so I don't get confused. Looks crestfallen and Zaniri takes a step forward. She places a large hand on his shoulder. We will find her if she's able to be found. Aura smiles up next to her and interjects. For a price. We are adventurers for hire, after all. Francis nods. Of course, I'm more than willing to pay for your help. I can offer you 80 gold for your trouble. Cheryl looks. I haven't even seen that amount of gold before. You have yourself a deal. He looks relieved, tension lessening in his shoulders. So 80 gold, 4 people in your adventure party, that's 20 gold per person. Yes, I just did that in my head. No, I am not a wizard. I'm just good at doing mental math, if it's simple like that. Thank you. I'm very lucky you guys came around when you did. He looks down at the fire in his hand. I suppose I don't really need this anymore. You might want to hang it up anyway, just in case you can't find her. Or nudges him. We will definitely find her. We'll definitely try. Oh my gosh, I love these dynamics already. Francis looks between the two of them, nodding unsurely. I step in and bring his attention back to me. Anyway, what can you tell us about Charlotte? She has pale skin, brown hair, and gray eyes. She's shorter than me, and she's always had the warmest smile. How long have you been married? Around 10 years. I've always been happy, and I'd like to believe she has, too. That's sweet. That he's not trying to speak for her. He's just, this is what he thinks, but he's like, I understand, like, the way he phrased it indicates that he understands that he's not necessarily speaking for her. He's just giving, this is just the impression he's had, which there's a huge difference there, and I love that this is shown. Have you noticed anything different about her? Any change in her regular behavior? Well, she's been a little distant in the past month. We had a group of bandits come in and raid the town last month. It was horrible. Charlotte tried to fight them off, but she was powerless. We're not people like you. We're not meant to be fighting like that. Bandits? Have they been back since? He shakes his head. They made off with some gold and many of our crops, which is terrible timing with winter coming. But Charlotte has been out of sorts ever since then. She's been waking up with terrible nightmares. Is she close with anyone in town, or who might have seen her leave? He thinks for a moment. Well, she's friendly with Thistle. They own the bakery. There's a barkeeper, Oswald, at the local tavern. He hears stories from travelers who come in from the road. Oh, and there's Jalen. She's one of the local guards who patrols the area. Maybe she's seen something? We'll check it out for you. I am very grateful. Next time we meet, I hope we'll have news about your wife. Or that we will have your wife. That would be a relief. I hope for that, too. With a tip of his head, he walks off. Well, this is one way to make gold. Oh, so much fun. We get to find a woman who's run off from her marriage. I don't know what she'd be running from. He seems like a decent man. Maybe she just got lost in the woods. It can be really confusing for people who don't know what to look for. Yes, I'm sure she's just lost in the woods and not halfway to Heartcliff with another man. You can ask your bird friends to help locate her. I could also speak with the local animals if we think she's in the woods. Aura glances at me out of the corner of their eye. Why can all of our friends talk to animals? I don't know. I feel left out. I never learned that trick when I was... Okay, so this is your backstory. Oh, right. My dice is right here. So, again, we're going to let the dice decide. Just because it's fun. So, 1 or 4 in the circus. 2 or 5 in a thieves guild. 3 or 6 a mercenary. 1 in the circus. Yes! There was a monkey who used to perform with me, but we never had cause to speak. I'm sure he would have been an excellent conversationalist. I think he was someone familiar, so he might have actually understood me. But anyway, I guess we should start our investigation. You really think do you think she likes willingly? As opposed to what, being taken? You didn't mention a fight at all. So she just left. I guess the question is, why would she leave? You mentioned she was distant lately. We could check in with people in town to see if they know anything about her. My gaze falls to the woods and to the road beyond. The trees sway in the wind, but that's not all I see. There's something shifting behind the truck. I might catch a glimpse of red before it's gone. I figure it's just the leaves blowing around and turn my attention back to Maple Rest. Now, there was... Okay, this is me speaking as a writer. That would not have been included if it's not going to be significant later. So make a note of that. But this is just me thinking as a writer and not specifically as a reader. But it's hard to turn that off. I just mentioned a baker, a barkeeper, and a guard in town. Any of them might know some more information. Who should we talk to? The barkeeper would hear what people are saying when they visit the tavern. If anyone saw anything on the road, he might know. But the guard patrols the area. She might have seen something instead of just hearing about it. Well, she and the baker are friends. We could know more about her and the town if we talk to them. And it might be nice to visit a bakery. Oh, we're getting so much of their personality here. I love it. All of them turn to me expectantly. Why am I always a tiebreaker? If you think of a fourth option, we could draw straws for it. Fine, let's talk to... Okay, so I don't know if this is going to affect potential romances, but it's me, so I'm gonna go with the big buff orc lady. At least she looks like an orc. So, town person. Yes, I am keeping notes of this too. So the Zaniri wanted to talk to the guard. And I misspelled guard. Really. How do I get a U and an A mixed up? So I'm going to actually go ahead and save here, just in case. Let's talk to the town's guard. Lead the way, we'll be right behind you. There's movement in the sky, and the raven lands on the notice board again and watches us leave. Just twice that the raven has been mentioned, so I am very curious about the significance of this raven. We make our way to the edge of town, where buildings give way to the tree line of the forest. It takes some searching, but Zaniri spots a tiefling woman wearing armor that's walking along the border of town. Ooh, a tiefling! Awesome! My first ever Dungeons & Dragons character that I created and played in a game, however briefly, was a tiefling. And not just any tiefling, a variant tiefling with wings. Because, let's be real, everyone wants wings, right? Beside her is a hound with a shaggy coat. We walk up to her and she eyes us up. Excuse me, are you Jalen? She gives me a curt nod. Do you need something? Can we pet your dog? Oh my gosh, big buff orc lady loves animals. Yes, she cannot get even better. I glance over surprised that she has spoken up. Jalen cracks a tiny smile and nods. Sure, he loves it. Zaniri crouches down, grinning. The dog smells her outstretched hand tentatively before eagerly bounding forward to be pet. He scratches his ears and he wags his tail in excitement. Who's a good boy? Are you helping protect this hound? He spins around in a circle as if to confirm that, yes, he is a good boy. He glances back at me. You want to pet him? This is me. Yes, we are petting the dog. I nod and join her. The dog faces me, nuzzling his head into my palm. His fur is very soft beneath my fingertips as I pet him. He is basking under all the attention. Of course, dogs love attention. Well, most of them. Oh, my aunt visited for Thanksgiving, and she has 2 King Charles Spaniels or something like that. They were puppies when she first got them, but they're like 4 years old, I think. And oh my goodness, my aunt and my mom were basically ignoring them while they chatted before my aunt left, and the one just kept barking, demanding attention, and they just ignored her. But it was hilarious. She's like, excuse you, you're not paying attention to me. I get back to my feet, elbow converging on the dog to give him a gentle pat on the head. Aura stands back, but is smiling. They seem to be watching us instead of the dog, however. Cute. The investigation entirely derailed. I turned my attention back to Jalen, who, Joe, I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, has been watching us in mild amusement. We were adventurers who were passing through town when Francis Fishman asked us to help find his wife, Charlotte. We were wondering if you have any information that could help us. She gives me a slow nod. I heard. Francis came to see some of the other guards about her yesterday. So you haven't seen her? No, I keep watching the porter of town. I didn't see her leave. I look over at my companions, who seem content to leave this up to me. Of course! Did you know Charlotte at all? She shrugs, her armor clanking with emotion. Not very well. Her and her husband kept to themselves. Pleasant folk, though, as far as I know. Do you know of any reason why she would leave? Why would anyone leave Maple Rock? To see the world, cut and run. The guards discussed possible foul play, but there's been no sign of a scuffle anywhere. She left of her own volition. Mr. Fishman must not know her as well as he thought he did. I take a moment to digest that. Jalen's tone is flippant, but I also remember her saying that she doesn't know them well. Have you noticed anything different about her? Did you talk about leaving? She shrugs again. I really didn't have much reason to speak with her, but I do know she was rattled after those damn bandits raided the village. The last time I saw her, she was outside the old woman's house, Celine, on the corner of the main street. And when was this? About a week ago? Is there anything else, or can I get back to my patrol? That's all. Thank you for your time. She nods her head and begins her patrol again. The dog gives Zaniri one last friendly lick and bounds off with his owner. Should we check out that woman, Celine? Okay. I have an itch in my nose, but I don't have the need to sneeze. It's just irritating. That's the only thing we have to go on. Maybe she'll know if Charlotte wasn't happy with the marriage. What was her life like in town? Any reason she might leave? We head away from the woods and towards the house in the corner that apparently Charlotte had been visiting. The town is small, so the walk isn't far. The house is the last stop on the row of houses in town. It looks more than a little rickety. I cannot imagine living in a town like that. I've pretty much lived in the same city all my life, and it is part of this huge megalopolis, I guess you could call it, of Southern California. So the different cities run into each other. There's no real separation between one city and the next. I didn't even see that until I traveled to Europe for a college trip. That was weird to me. This must be her house. Zaniri stops and looks at me. Should we head straight in, or should we check out the area first? Did you have something in mind? She studies the house intently. There's a way to survey the house with us needing to get close. Nora steps it confidently. I can sneak around and check what's inside without getting caught, no problem. I could also help. I have some protection spells I can use so we know what we're dealing with in there. All eyes fall on me, once again. I can take a look. I feel confident as I eye the building. With my time in the circus, I know exactly how to scale walls and climb. I have a running start and usually find places to put my hands and feet, carefully climbing to the top. As I approach the top window, I feel energy wash over me. There's magic here, and it's powerful. Frowning, I jump nimbly down and head back to the group. There's magic surrounding the building. Magic that's unexpected in a small town like Maple Rest. Let's be careful, okay? We approach the front door, and two ravens land on the fence in the yard. So, a raven's been mentioned twice, and now there's two ravens. Whereas the two mentions the same raven then, or two different ones? I'm just having fun puzzling this out as I go. They peer at us in a strange way that sets me on edge. Lots of ravens in this town. One of them tilts its head at me as if it knew what I said. I step up to the door and knock. For a long moment, there's no response. Then there's a scuffling behind the door. Just a minute! I hear the lock being fiddled with. The door swings open, and I think for a moment that there's no one there. I look down and see an old gnomish woman staring up at me. Okay, so your companions are an elf or half-elf, orc or half-orc, some blue dude, Given that he was making they were making the leaves swirl up, I'm inclined to think that they're an air genasi. And then the NPCs, we had a human, a tiefling, and now a gnome. So, nice diversity in terms of just the races of the characters. And we don't know what our character is in terms of race. I don't know if that's up to us or if we're by default human. Maybe we'll find out. Who are you? What do you want? Are you Feline? Who's asking? I'm Melina, and these are my companions. I was wondering if you had a moment to talk. We have some questions about Charlotte Fishman. Behind us, the ravens take off into the sky. Feline gives me a long, hard look. Fine, come inside. The inside of the house is warm and smells of old perfume. Most of the furniture fits sewing the size of a gnome, but she does have one couch that's reserved for guests. We crowd uncomfortably tight on it, with Zaniri standing beside us, willing to give up her seat. Tea? She comes into the room with a serving tray and several cups of tea, setting it on the table in front of us. Overall takes one of the tiny cups, slightly blowing the steam as it curls around his face. Thank you. Feline takes a seat across from us, looking each of us up and down. Well, a group of adventurers comes pounding at my door, asking about a missing woman. What exactly do you think I can do for you? We heard that Charlotte was seen visiting your house before she left. Answer now. When was the last time you saw her? And why do you care? You're strangers to this town. We've been hired by her husband, Francis, to investigate. She gives me an acknowledging hum. Charlotte came by last week for tea. She was just being neighborly. Zaniri catches my eye from where she stands, her brow furrowing. She gives me a subtle shake of her head. Well, we heard that Charlotte kept her assault and that heading over here was out of the ordinary for her. Did she say anything while she was over here that might give us an idea, of why she went or why she would leave? Listen, I'm just an old lady. If I knew where Charlotte had gone to, if I thought she was in trouble, I would have told Francis myself. Just an old lady. Think about the strange magical energy discovered around her house. She's hiding something, but how to broach the subject? Okay. Speak to her honestly, make something up, intimidate her. I'm torn, so we're going to use dice. 1 or 4, first option. 2 or 5, second option. 3 or 6, third option. Okay, here we go. This is why I'm one of the dice to pick, because this is not what I would normally do. I would have gone with the first option, but part of the fun of playing these games is not playing yourself, and I'm trying to do that more. The sequel to Arcade Spirits should be out relatively soonish. I think that's pretty much right. They're just trying to get all the publishing and stuff sorted out. I already have plans for how I'm going to do that one. Okay, here we go. Then why, pray tell, would a simple old lady have such a strong magical aura around her house? She doesn't answer, just takes a long sip of her tea. We need information on Charlotte Fishman, and I believe you have that. We need your cooperation. She meets my gaze steadily. The girl came to me, asking about the Arcana. I'm the only mage in town, but that's not something I share readily. Why the secrecy? I like being retired in peace. The spark of magic dances between her fingertips, stroking erratically. I was born with it, or cursed with it. I never figured out which. But it's dangerous. I keep it under wraps to protect myself. I've made a good home here, and I'd like to keep it. My adventure days are done. What did Charlotte ask you about? I think that's supposed to be a she at the beginning there. She was determined to get answers. She asked me about where magic comes from. If you're not born with it, how do you learn it? Is it all through book learning, or could you draw power from another source? That's another reason to keep this private. I don't like the questions. I glanced at my companions at this revelation. And do you know why she wants to learn about magic? Celine sets her teacup down. I'm sure by now you've heard about that bandit attack last month. The town was practically defenseless against the raid. Why didn't you step in to protect your town? Zaniri steps up, fixing the woman with a stony look. My magic is unpredictable, and I'm years out of practice. I could have done more harm than good. If they had breached my house, well, that would be a different story. Zaniri just crosses her arms, looking agitated. Anyway, Charlotte was distressed by it. I believe she was exploring her options when she came to me. Did she say anything about leaving town? She shakes her head. Once she had the information she wanted from me, she left. And you didn't think to go to Francis with this information? She fixes me with a hard look. I told you, if I knew where she was, or if I thought she was in danger, I would have told him what he wanted to know. But he never thought to ask. You didn't think he might like to know she was asking about magic? She obviously didn't tell him. Why should I? That's her business. She looks me up and down. Don't you think? Right. Thank you for your time. I get up and move the party out. Celine stays in her chair, watching us as we leave. Interesting. Okay, so there was a bandit attack. Charlotte wasn't bothered by it and goes to talk to the only mage in town to ask questions about magic. So it seems likely that she wanted to learn magic herself. Presumably to help defend the town next time something like that happens. But that's kind of sad. The bandits take your crops right before winter. Come on, there it is. The sun has set, plunging the town into darkness. Wait, glad to get fresh air again. I take in this new information. The sun has set, plunging the town into darkness. So she was on the hunt to learn magic? She could have taken off to study at an academy in Heartcliff. Do you think she would leave without saying goodbye? Why would she do that? If she didn't go to the city, we might be able to catch up with her. Well, if she did go to the city, we might be able to catch up with her. She can't be too far along the road. But do we want to follow her? They'll turn to look at me. We don't know where she is. What if we can't find her? We'll be halfway to Heartcliff with even less gold than we started with. I know we told Francis that we would find her, but maybe she doesn't want to be found. You promised us 80 gold, though. I know. With no more leads on Charlotte's whereabouts from Jolene, I feel at a loss. I know that my companions look to me for answers, but I have none to give them. Zaniri's attention has drifted from the conversation. Her gaze focused on the edge of the woods. I've heard something. There's something in the woods. I look at her quickly. What do you mean? It's probably an owl. Let's just head to the tavern, shall we? We can spend the night there and talk about what we want to do in the morning. Zaniri is already walking to the tree line as they speak. Or we could head to the creepy sound in the woods. That sounds like a good idea, too. They swiftly follow after her. Alvaro glances back at me to make sure I'm coming before he follows as well. The edge of the forest looms in front of us. The only sound is the wind rustling in the leaves. What did you hear? Zaniri looks all around, motioning for the party to be silent. Everything is still until there's shifting in the trees. 3 ravens are perched on the branches, peering down at us. Okay, so we've had 1 raven, 2 ravens, 3 ravens. What were you saying about the ravens earlier? They take off into the air, and there's a sudden bright flash of magic. In an instant, the ravens are transformed with the crackle of fiery magic and the smell of brimstone. 3 winged red creatures fly in their place, tails whipping out towards us. They are humanoid in form, but their horns and eyes are distinctly not. Zaniri throws herself in front of us, drawing her axe and trying to draw their ire. Imps! The spiked end of his tail lashes against her cheek. She winces in pain, but braces herself against the attack. Mora reacts quickly, grabbing the quarterstaff with a showy spin. I told you we should have gone to the tavern instead. They charge up a nearby tree and use the momentum to launch off and bring their quarterstaff down on one of the imps. Their wild laughter fills the night air as they tackle the creature. Okay, that thing about flipping in and out of shadows earlier suggested rogue, but horror stack suggests monk. I take a deep breath, reaching for the scimitars at my side. As I do, there's the comforting sensation of Elverill's magic around me, like the warm sun on my skin. I'm used to something like this taking place in an actual D&D game where each person takes their turn. This is much more fun. I glance over my shoulder at him and he positions himself out of the way, focusing on keeping us protected. I rush into battle, blades singing. Side by side with Zaniri, there's a comfortable rhythm to how we fight. She knows my weaknesses and I know hers, and we know how to protect each other. Zaniri grabs my shoulder, pushing me out of the way as the nymph dives down, its claws outstretched. I act against her instead, and she wrenches it away. The winged creature zips out of reach of her gleaming axe. Aura walks on air as they fight, moving with a practiced grace and agility. Air Genasi. Why did you say sorry? This is not Exandria. Air Genasi sounds more and more like it. With a practiced grace and agility. The flourishes and spins with the quarterstaff seem extensive, but they still bring it down with devastating crack. They bat one end directly to Zaniri's awaiting blade and flash her over it. Elverill's magic swirls around them both, guiding their strikes. I am locked in battle with another of the flurry of blades in the midst of hellfire. The tail whips out and wraps around my arm, and there's a sudden tug on my other one as I am grabbed by a second imp. Feet kicking in the air, they begin pulling me up by my arms. I struggle in their grasp, trying to break free, cast a spell, do anything. The imps have me in their hold and are dragging me deeper in the woods, away from my companions. Melina! The warmth of his magic vanishes in an instant, as it breaks in his panic. The trees surrounding me bend towards us as if reaching for the imps. The branches twist and shoot forward to wrap around the ankles of my captors. Aura runs up the tree with ease, darting out on one of the outstretched branches. They swing their quarterstaff and bring it down hard on one of the imps. I use that distraction to wrench myself free. As I begin to fall, I reach for one of the tree branches controlled by Elverill's magic. I can't quite make it. My palms are slick with sweat. Heart lurching in my chest, I brace for impact. I'm not that high up, so I'm struggling to right myself. Instead of hitting the hard forest floor, I land directly into Zaniri's strong, waiting arm. I got you. He helps me to my feet and places a hand on my shoulder. In front of us, Aura is fighting the last imp. They dance furiously across the thin branches, never afraid to fall. But the imp flies just out of their reach and turns tail to flee. The branches go rigid again as Elverill focuses his magic. So if he's a cleric, which seems most likely since he's their healer, I forget. I think there is a cleric domain that's focused on nature. I keep thinking Caduceus. I keep thinking of Caduceus from Spiritual World. But he was technically a grace cleric, but his goddess was a nature goddess. So maybe that's it. I'm not familiar with the D&D gods and goddesses. It gathers around him, green energy swirling in his hands before blasting towards the imp. It flops and is knocked out of the sky. Aura jumps from the trees, landing with a twirl of their quarterstaff. The forest falls silent around us as we stare at the bodies of the creatures. So, yeah, it seems very likely that Aura is a monk. Remembering, though, from Critical Role, yeah, I'm referring to Critical Role a lot, but that's what I'm most familiar with. The monks could negate falling damage. That's probably what happened with Aura. We don't know what level these adventurers are, but they seem fairly competent. Elverill is the first to break the silence. Why are there monsters from the hells in these woods? Is the rest of the town safe? Gives us a panicked look, and Zaniri places a hand on his arm. She looks up and holds out her arm. There's a shimmer of magic as a spectral echo appears on her arm. Ooh. She takes it to the air, and her eyes go blank, and they survey the area. We wait for her to finish in a tense silence. It's all clear. Until lands back on her arm and vanishes again. Laura pokes one of the imps with the end of their quarterstaff, as if they expect it to leap up and attack us once again. That'd be just what they need, right? So what are these things? You said they're from the hells? What are they doing here? I have no idea. I stare down at the scene, the memory of being lifted in the air and dragged away, making my stomach lurch. But I think this just became a much bigger problem. Is this connected to Charlotte Fishman? I don't know anything for certain. No one in town mentioned fiendish activity, so these creatures appeared recently, right after Charlotte left, and we're the ones asking questions about her, so we're the ones they attacked. I look at the others and see my concern reflected back at me. Is everyone alright? We scanned for injuries, but beyond some expected scrapes and bruises, we're alright. Only Zaniri has a fresh gash across her cheek. Okay. One would expect that the elf character would be a woman and the orc character would be a man, so I like that subversion there, too. Overall steps forward with concern, but she holds up a hand. I'm fine. Save your energy. I think we could all use some rest. He nods and glances down at the imps. Will there be more of them? She places a comforting hand on his shoulder. We'll be safe in the tavern, and I'll keep watch during the night. Looks relieved at her reassurances. Night is creeping into the woods, and the thought of being indoors and out of the dark is more than appealing. The Palewood Inn awaits, and as we approach, I can hear the sound of locals enjoying an evening meal and drink. We push in, and the warmth from the hearth fire is inviting compared to the chill of the night. I try to flag down the barkeeper to pay for some rooms for the party. He doesn't seem to like the interruption, but brightens up the sight of my corn purse. We find a table at the tavern, exhaustion creeping in. Purchasing food and drinks, we try to focus after that battle. Refocus after that battle. Looking up clearly, I see a man approaching our table. Evening, adventurers. I feel my heart sink in my chest. Feebly, I look to see if maybe one of my companions wants to take the lead on this conversation. Like usual, there are no volunteers. I sit up, trying to look less tired than I feel. Mr. Fishman, I wish I had any news about Charlotte for you. His shoulders droop. I understand. I don't know what to tell him with so few answers and so many more questions. We were following some leads, trying to retrace his steps. Glance around the tavern, toying with the idea of telling him about the imps. I don't want to worry him, though, or put a potential target on his back. If the imps attacked us, I don't want them coming after him as well. Are you sure Charlotte didn't say anything out of the ordinary before she left? He thinks quietly for a moment. Not really. She'd been distant ever since that bandit raid. I tried to give her comfort, to tell her that we'll be safe, but I didn't know what to do. She would still wake up with nightmares. Were the nightmares about the bandits? He shrugged. She never told me, and she wouldn't come back to bed either. I considered telling him about her asking about magic. Celine's words ring in my head, and I keep it to myself for now. Any information helps. Let's hope that next time we meet, we'll have news about Charlotte. I appreciate that you guys are helping me. I just want to see her come back safely. She's my everything. He lets out a long breath. You all have a nice night. He walks off, leaving us to our food and our thoughts. That's kind of sweet. But also kind of dangerous. Because the guard said that they were kind of distant from everyone else in the town. So they didn't make friends with anyone else. And that's not healthy. You need to have friendships outside your marriage. Even though I'm exhausted, my mind starts spinning. Pieces of all the information that we've gathered spin in front of my eyes. My train of thought is interrupted when Aura yawns dramatically. I think we've all had a long day. They shoot me a pointed look. So we should deal with the rest of this tomorrow. I nod, and with the scrape of our chairs against the wood floor, we say goodnight. Each of us head to our rooms. After a morning of traveling, an afternoon of investigation, and the sudden battle with the imps, I feel relieved at the sight of a bed. Even if the room is cramped and the mattress is hot beneath me. Even if I don't mind camping in the woods while on the road, with the threat of the imps, I am grateful for the walls around me. Thoughts of the day still swirl around in my head, trying to work out everything I've learned. I try to shake it off. It's time to focus on that tomorrow with the rest of the party. It's me! That would be me exactly. I would be thinking about this mess. Before I settle into bed, I figure I have time to check in with one of my companions before bed. So this is when you get to sit and have that scene with those your companions. And people should know by now I'm totally going to pick Zaniri. But I will eventually play this again and pick other options. So we're going to save. Across the hall to Zaniri's room and knock on the door. Melina, please come in. I push the door open and see her carefully propping her axe up against the wall. How did you know it was me? She shrugs. Overall knocks like he's afraid of hurting the wood. Aura always does the same knock. She raps rhythmically on her bedside table. How do I knock? Like you really want in. She takes a seat on the bed and gestures for me to join her. As I do, I can feel the heat radiating off of her in this close proximity. I'm safe to sleeping under the stars. It's strange to look up and not see them there. I follow her gaze to the ceiling. There are no stars, but there is something that looks suspiciously like a burn mark. I figure I don't want to know. Yeah, probably for the best. I'm glad we're inside, though. I don't want to be camping out, knowing there could be more imps around. She nods in understanding. I'm going to stay up and keep an eye out. You should get some rest and recover from today. My hand hovers just over her cheek, where a fresh gash has been cut across her features. She takes it in her own and lowers it. I'll be all right. I want everyone to know they're safe. She glances at the door. It's also strange not to sleep with everyone. Out on the road like we do, it's become normal to sleep in close quarters in our campsite. There aren't any walls between us and the wilderness. I'm just across the hall. She rests her hand on my knee. I know. For that, I am glad. I lean into her. Her company is comforting after a strange day in Maple Rest. I don't know what to make of all this. She takes my hand in both of her own. They are large and covered in many scars. You'll figure it out. You always do. I appreciate your faith in me. It's an easy thing to have. This is so sweet. She rests her forehead against mine for a moment. I close my eyes and listen to her steady breathing. I should let you rest. Let's go, and I miss the warmth immediately. My door is open to you. Ah! I touch her arm lightly as I get to my feet and get a warm smile in return. I head back to my room and sleep finds me quickly. That's all I needed was just my love interest. The next morning we reconvene and find a table to eat breakfast together. Everyone sleep well? No one got attacked in the night by deathlish creatures? Zaniri nods, her mouth too full to respond. So, what are we going to do? He glances at me as he carefully removes the tomatoes from his plate and puts them on Zaniri's. Charlotte went missing 3 days ago now. We believe she left of her own volition, but that doesn't mean that something hasn't happened to her since then. She was in contact with the only mage in town, asking about the arcade right before she left. And that was that there is some kind of fiendish activity in town that thought us out to attack after they watched us asking questions about her. I don't know what Charlotte has done, but I'm worried she's in over her head. Aura twirls her finger in the steam from their teacup, and it swirls around them in a tiny tornado. If she wanted to learn about magic, she would head to Heartcliff. What if the imps attacked her? We don't even know if she's alive. I can ask the creatures in the forest if they've seen anything. I just hope she's okay. The words become muffled as I drift out of the conversation, ruminating over everything we've learned. I know that we can't afford to be wrong about where Charlotte has gone. What I keep going back to is the imps. They must be connected to her leaving. Why would they be hanging around the town if she has left? Their behavior during the fight was strange. I can think back to being helpless in the grass as they began to fly away with me. Melina has her thinking face on. Zaniri pokes their arm. Shh, then let her think. I let out a breath. She has to be nearby. She's probably not in town, but somewhere close. When we were fighting, the imps weren't really trying to kill us. They grabbed me, and they tried to take me somewhere. But where would a group of imps be able to stay that's close enough to the town, but where they could stay out of sight? A memory springs into my head. You remember what I said on the notice board? The old lady that wanted us to gather herbs for her? I shake my head. No, the strange noises coming out of an old dungeon. It was dated only a couple days ago, right after Charlotte went missing. If she's anywhere, she has to be there. The imps must be coming from there as well. Zaniri pushes her cleared plate aside. Then let's go. Dun dun dun! Okay, so according to the page on it, this is about 20,000 words, which comes out to about an hour of playtime. But I'm assuming that's not with reading aloud. I'm gonna keep going. I'm really intrigued. Yes, ma'am. It's a chilly morning as we leave the tavern and towards the woods. There's a layer of frost across the grass, and the trees look just a little more barren. The leaf begins its descent to the growing piles below. You know what? I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. There's a layer of frost across the grass, and the trees look just a little more barren. A leaf begins its descent to the ground piles below. And I already read that. I shiver as a cold wind blows past us. Here, take my cloak. Before I have a chance to respond, she drapes her thick cloak over my shoulders. The body heat lingers within, and it warms me up instantly. Thank you, but don't you want it? Yeah. She places her hand on the center of my back and smiles, tugging at her lips. I'm used to the cold. I'll be fine. I want you to have it. Ooh. Leaves crunch beneath our boots. Can we wait just a moment? I want to ask the local wildlife if they saw anything. I halt and give him a nod. He smiles back gratefully. Okay, this is normally the role that would be played by a female character. So I love that it's a male-female character, or a male character if your character is male, doing this. Note to yourself, do not write something while you're talking. I forgot to write down that because it is dinner. I was like, there's something else I wanted to grab. What did I want to grab? Water. This is what happens when your brain is going multiple directions at once. Welcome to ADHD, ladies and gentlemen. He takes a seat on the forest floor, the cross clearing before him. Zaniri begins to help, lending him her own magic to cast a spell. He takes his charm of the fiend off and holds it with both hands. Magic begins to swirl around him, green tendrils like freshly planted sprouts. Okay, I'm very curious. I want to be sure if I'm correct in... So... If I can spell the name correctly. Helps if my fingers are in the right spot. Okay, it sounds like it's just a name that the developer came up with, because when I look up the theme, I get the phone. So it sounds like it's a name of a goddess that the author came up with, which is cool. I was just surprised. Green tendrils like freshly planted sprouts. Oh, that's a lovely image. They dive into the earth, into the trunks of trees, into the piles of leaves. Colors take on the oranges and browns of the world around us. The magic swirls around Zaniri as well as she sits across from him, golden threads connecting them. Glances Aura, who's watching them intently, the colors reflecting on their skin. Alvaro opens his eyes, and they flash with magic. He holds out a hand, a tiny bird swoops down and lands on his finger. Hey, I was wondering if you could help us out. We're looking for a woman, Charlotte Fishman. She has pale skin and brown hair. Have you seen her in the last few days? His voice sounds like it usually does, soft-spoken, but there's an undercurrent to it that resonates with the forest. The bird tweets in what I assume is a response. Alvaro nods along. I'm just thinking of talking with that squirrel and Emperor's New Through. Squeakin', squeak, squeaker, squeak, squeakin'. He speaks to it softly, watching as it chirps and ruffles its feathers. Aura nudges my arm, giving me an amused grin. Thank you so much. Make sure you're ready for winter, all right? The bird hops on his finger once before flying up and back to the trees. Overall stands, brushing dirt from his pants. Zaniri helps him to his feet. He was already standing, so why did Zaniri help him stand up again? What did it tell you? They saw her a couple days ago in the woods, but she wasn't traveling on the road. They didn't see any imps, but they noticed that there were many more ravens than usual. So they're here in disguise. I glance up at the trees, searching for any dark-feathered birds that are watching us. Did it mention the dungeon at all? He shakes his head. I only saw her once and haven't seen her since. I looked deeper into the woods towards our destination. She wasn't headed for the road, but I feel better about our chances of finding her in that dungeon. The party follows us as I lead them further into the woods. The abandoned dungeon isn't far from the border of town. The crumbling stonework guides me to the front door. Zaniri crouches and examines the earth. There are footprints here, see? He points to a few places where the ground is soft and imprints mark the dirt. I examine the ruins and hear rustling in the trees behind us. My hands drift to my scimitars as I try and see what made the noise. I don't know what I am looking for, imps, ravens, but I can't see anything. I let out a sigh, still feeling on edge. I turn my attention back to the door of the dungeon. I'm sure it's unlocked and not trapped and will be able to waltz right in. Aura grins before giving me a mock bow. Please, watch and learn. They crouch at the door, placing their hands on it. This isn't your average front door, but there is no lock I can't pick. They fiddle with the lockpick, and I hear a distinctive click. They swing the door open and take a long stride back. Something whizzes towards us, but they reach out a hand and pluck it effortlessly from the air, inches from their face. Yep, definitely a monk. I was hoping for something a little more creative than a poison dart. They toss it aside. Shall we? With the door open and a trap disabled, we make our way into the dungeon. Yeah, if they were a rogue, they would have checked for traps before they even picked the lock. The smell hits me immediately, rotting earth and decaying plant life. It's pitch black and I can barely see in front of me. Okay, so our character doesn't have dark vision. Overall, can you make a light? From behind me, light begins to shine as Alvaro's charm glows brightly. Three glowing orbs of light dance around us. Oh great, now everyone knows exactly where we are. It's either this or fighting in the dark. That's what I'm best at. But it's not just you in the party, is it? They're quiet for once. Stay close behind me. I'll keep it safe. He steps in front, keeping a sharp eye out as we walk through the stone corridor. Hank! The smell of rot gets strong and Zaniri stops. Drops the hilt of her axe, slowly unsheathing it. Following her lead, I draw my scimitars, although I cannot see the danger. There is something shambling towards us, a mass crawling in the dark. The light catches it, and I see a mess of twigs and leaves and all manner of plant life. Whatever sentence it possesses has it aimed right at us in an aggressive manner. Zaniri gets between us and it, standing as a protective barrier. Elviro steps beside Zaniri. Again, stay behind me. I don't want our healer getting hurt. He nods quickly and steps back. His hands run together, and Zaniri braces herself for the unfortunate creature. He still looks restless, eyes still darting to the creature. I nudge his arm. What is it? I think I may know a way to stop it. The tone doesn't convey much confidence, but I nod anyway. Okay, let's try. Zaniri glances back at me, still poised in defense. He keeps a careful eye out as Alvaro steps up, hovering over his shoulder protectively. He holds out his charm of Fishman, and it glows even brighter. Magic swirls around us, warm and golden, like firelight. He speaks out to the creature. I can help you. The creature halts, golden magic moving around it. The decaying plant pulses with life. Dead leaves fill with color, and white moss blooms healthy green. The body relaxes, and there's just a cluster of plant matter on the dungeon floor. Alvaro blinks. It works. He sounds far too surprised. He lets out a sigh of relief, tugging the charm back on his belt. I'm just glad I was able to help it. So I thought the charm was a star, but now that I'm looking at it more closely, it actually could be a flower. A flower that's shaped like a star. Because if it were a star, these would all be the same color. They'd all be yellow, right? But the outer points look like the pink. The golden swirls of magic around us fade. The expanse of the dungeon lies in front of us. So that's cool, but each character gets a chance to demonstrate their skills, their specialty. I think that was only the first of many dangers. Everyone stay close. All the more reason for you to save up fighting. She takes the lead again as we continue through the corridors. Long-forgotten ruins of the dungeon surround us as we walk. Who do you think lived here when it wasn't a ruin? I brush my fingers against crumbled engravings in the walls. I can just make out the shapes of trees. Zaniri follows my gaze to what was once intricate stonework, the twisting leaves and branches. Druids, perhaps, or other similar group connected. Maybe that's where the creatures responded so well to your magic, Alvaro. There's shuffling up ahead that catches my attention, so I quickly hold up for us all to be quiet. I think there's some words missing there. There's a flash of familiar red, and rounding the corner in front of us is a low flying imp. His eyes go wide at the sight of us. So that red that we noticed at the beginning. See, there was a connection. It opens its mouth, and I can't risk it sounding an alarm and announcing our presence. I take out my lyre and begin to play. I can see threads of magic weave through the air towards it. Go to sleep, be still. My command takes hold, and its mouth and eyes close. It drifts to the ground, chest still rising and falling, as it falls into a deep slumber. My companions and I creep around its sleeping form. When I speak, I pitch my voice to a whisper. There must be more up ahead. We need to be careful. If we were quieter in the first place, we wouldn't have this issue. We can't all be like you. Pity, I could scout ahead. We could get to this dungeon and back again before you'd even know I was gone. We're staying together. What if you run into trouble? I don't get caught, not when I'm on my own. So we're just slowing you down? They gave a showy shrug and winked at him. You're lucky I don't mind. The dungeon ahead is full of corridors that twist and turn, branching off into dozens of rooms. Try to keep us on the straight path and lead us deeper in. Whoever is in here, the imps and hopefully Charlotte Fishman herself will be along this path. Ahead of us there's a stone door that is similar to the one we encounter at the entrance. A push on it, but it's locked tight. The door's locked fits slip into their hand with an easy motion. See, what would you do without me? They fill with the lock with that same simplicity. There's a click and they freeze in place. I'm about to ask what's wrong until the answer springs to mind. Another trap, only this one wasn't disarmed. And we have a few seconds before it hits them. We're not going to pick the third option. So, odd number, first option, even number, second option. 4. I lunged for them and yanked them out of the way. The door bursts open and there's a flash of metal as a sharp blade slices forth. It catches my bicep, tearing the cloth of my shirt, and there's a sting of pain. Breathing hard, I let them go now that we're out of danger. They'd look a little lost for words, which is something new. Melina, Alvaro steps up to me quickly and takes my arm. Zaniri falls and places a hand on my shoulder in concern. Alvaro's hands shake as swirling pink magic dances between his fingertips and seeps into my skin. He lets out a tired breath as the wound closes up. Are you all right? All better, thanks to you. I look over at Aura, who's still staring at me in surprise. Why would you do that? I didn't want it to hurt you. I'd do it again if I had to. I raise a hand, fingers not quite touching the spot where the wound has closed up. Melina, I'm sorry. They scuffed the floor with her foot, a sudden cold breeze whipping around us. I feel stupid, I guess. I should have realized it was traps. Mistakes happen. That's nothing we can't fix. I just don't want to let you guys down. You're not? Thank you, Melina. Alvaro and Zaniri go to them with their own words of encouragement. I get a playful eye roll. In return, as Zaniri ruffles their hair. Advance to the now open door, the trap lying dormant. Everyone ready? I take the lead and guide the group through the dungeon. It isn't long before we pass through another chamber and Zaniri stops us. Can you hear that? Everyone falls silent. I can hear something coming from up ahead. It sounds like people speaking, but it's not a language I recognize. The imps? She nods, drawing her axe. Let them focus on me. I can take it. All of you need to stay safe. She doesn't give us a chance to protest as she kicks open the door of the chamber. We hear the screeches of the imps as they descend on her. Dad, wait! They rush into the chamber after her, propelling themselves on a gust of wind to carry them in. I run into the battle, drawing my scimitars. The chamber is filled with imps, a flurry of bat wings and spiked tails. One whips out at me, and I duck just in time. I am light on my feet, sword spitting in a flashing maneuver. I roll and dodge out of the way of each attack against me. Through the chaos of battle, I get a glimpse of my companions. Aura moves so quickly that the ground has no purchase beneath them. The swirl of death kicks up as they move, a living tornado. Alvaro keeps back, eyes on all of us. He reaches his hands out, and a long, dead bramble springs to life to wrap around one of the imps. Zaniri brings her axe down on it. She is a fury in battle, yelling out and drawing the imps away from Alvaro. They swarm her. Every time she bats them away, more takes her place. Even so, she is steadfast as the injuries begin to wear her down. I hear the flame of magic building within me, and I release the spell to pressure it. My magic seeps into their skin, and they wither and weaken. The clamor of battle rings in my ears. Zaniri continues to draw their focus to her, but her movements are sluggish and labored. She cannot keep this up so long. I run for her, blades in hand. She catches my eye as she swats at another imp. I'm trying to stay safe. The imp dives towards me, and its tail lashes out. There's a stinging pain on my arm as it makes contact. Another grabs for my sword, trying to wrench it out of my grasp. Aura materializes from the shadows and bashes the imp over its head with a quarterstaff, and they flash me a grin. They move swiftly on to their next target. I am locked in battle with a particularly fast imp, but I notice a flurry of movement in the corner of my vision. A group of imps swarms Zaniri, who is wounded. They grab at her, dragging her further, deeper into the dungeon. I charge after them, ignoring the imp right at my heels. Aura, Alvaro, and I converge on the imps and battle our way through. I dodge all the imps reach and go to launch myself at it, but I'm not given a chance to. A massive axe comes into my field of vision and takes it down in line strike. Zaniri's breathing is ragged as she stands before me, cuts and bruises glittering her skin. She winces in pain, leaning on her axe. You're hurt. You should sit down. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. We need to be careful. There could be more of them. She starts heading across the room, but her knees buckle. I reach out to brace her, but I'm not strong enough to hold her upright. She drops to the floor with a groan. Elviro and Aurora rush over with concern. Are you all right? She still just waves me off. I'm okay. I just need to catch my breath. You are not okay. Shush! Elviro crouches beside her. No, you're not. Please let me help. You should waste... Okay, I think that should be you shouldn't waste your reserves. It's not a waste. This is what I'm here for. She doesn't look entirely convinced, but doesn't offer any more protest. I take a seat across from her as Elviro begins to cast. You can't do this to yourself. I just want to keep you all safe. I can take it. I know, and thank you for protecting us. Just know that it goes both ways. We want to help you too. Elviro's magic surrounds her. The scent of spring air fills my lungs. Zaniri is quiet as she watches her wounds close. I traveled alone for so long. I'm glad to have people to protect. Sitting up, she looks to me. She reaches out and places her hand on my shoulder. She leans in to press our foreheads together. You're good to me. I cup her face, thumb brushing against her cheek. You mean a lot to me. I hate seeing you hurt. I'm not strong like you are, but I'll always have your back. Zaniri rests against me for a moment, long before she pulls... I think that's supposed to be longer, before she pulls back with a warm smile. She squeezes my shoulder affectionately. Zaniri gets to her feet and dusts off. Looking around the dungeon chamber, I look at all the imps that are scattered across the floor. What brought them all here? And how did they get here? I feel a shiver down my spine as the realization hits me. There must be a portal. Then we close it. Or examines an imp with a frown. Why haven't they attacked the town? It's so close by. Maybe they were waiting for more to come through? Vapor Rest is a small, defenseless town. Look around. They could have swarmed the town easily. They gestured to the horde of imps we faced. They only attacked us. I glanced towards the door across the chamber. They grabbed Zaniri. They tried to take her like they took me. Ori seeps in. We're walking into this with too many questions. I think we're close to wherever they wanted to take us. Wherever Charlotte Fishman is. My companions stayed right behind me as we delved deeper into the dungeon. Good old dungeon crawl, yeah. I can feel it before I see it. A stifling heat envelops us as we walk. It's like sitting too close to a campfire, but with none of its comfort. It takes only one glance at the others to know they feel it too. Elviro tugs at his collar as the heat bears down on us. We turn a corner and my stomach drops when I see the flickering of flames down the hall through an open door. At least this door is already open. Everyone, stay close. As we approach, the heat grows. I feel a bead of sweat trickle down my skin. Then we see the source of the heat, a fiery portal that can only lead to the house itself. Heavy, oppressive magic surrounds us. When we agreed to find a missing woman, I did not think it would lead us to a portal to the house. I'm just going to throw this out there. It's not too late to turn around and tell Francis we could have saved his life. But we promised we would help. 80 gold is not worth traversing the hells. It's not about the money. Whatever's going on, we have to help her. They click their tongue and toss him a fond look. Why do you have to be so good all the time? We reach the threshold, my hands grasping the hilts of my scimitars. I expect to see another horde of imps awaiting us. There's only one long figure in the room, however. They face away from us, silhouetted in the flames of the portal. Charlotte Fishman? They turn slowly, and I see a woman matching the description given to us. She looks exhausted, like she's gone days without sleep. You're adventurers. It's not posed as a question, but I answer it as one. Yes, we're here to help you. Your husband has hired us to find you. I glance at the portal that bears down on us, the flames shifting within. Let's get out of here and get you home. We'll keep you safe. My eyes are drawn to the tight necklace on her neck, a red stone inlaid within. Take a cautious step towards her. It's too late. I promise it's not. Whatever has happened to you, we can fix it. The portal flares brighter, and her eyes dart to it. It's not complete yet. Only a few have come through. It needs a sacrifice. There's a sinking feeling in my stomach. We'll leave together. All the imps are dead. No one needs to be a sacrifice. The gem on her neck glows brightly, matching the flare of the portal. I am not the one who will be sacrificed. She raises her hand, and the door slams shut behind us. Her arm crackles with magic. Zaniri moves beside me, drawing her axe. I place a hand on her arm to stop her. If I could just keep her talking, maybe I can defuse the situation. Whatever has happened, it's not too late to go home. Your husband misses you. He wants to know that you're okay. This is for him, so I can protect him. Last month, a group of bandits pillaged our town. They took whatever wasn't nailed down, everything we had worked for, and told us we should be grateful that they weren't taking our lives. I had to sit and watch and could do nothing. She spits out the words, voice trembling. That will never happen again. I'm so sorry that happened to you. We spoke with Celine. She told us you had been asking about magic and the arcane. This is where you found your sword? It came in my dreams, offering me all the power and magic I had wanted. In her hands, crackling flames appear, but it asked for something in return. We both look at the portal now. It told me to build it, bringing imps through to help with the construction. I made them swear not to harm Maple Rest, which is along Champion's Way. They would have a direct path to Parkcliff. A chill runs through me. Forts around the city of Parkcliff that prevent extraplanar portals opened within city limits. If a portal is opening here, there are likely others across the countryside too. This has become something that runs deeper than a missing woman in a small town. You would allow the fiends access to our world and let them attack the city? Charlotte is quiet. I'm opening a door. I just want to keep the people I love safe. Don't you understand? I glance at my friends around me. I do, but this has to stop. There will be no sacrifices. She shakes her head. It was only a matter of time before travelers came in along the road. They see themselves as adventurers, and what better than an old dungeon with mysterious noises to explore. Remember the fire on the nose board. A perfect trap. No one in town would get hurt that way. She gives us a long look. I don't think Francis would hire adventurers to look for me. How much did he promise you? 80 gold. She shakes her head with a bitter laugh. That's almost everything we have saved up. He cares about you, and I'm sure he wouldn't want you doing that. She slips a finger under the necklace that's pulling tight around her neck. I know. I thought this would all be easier, but I can't. They'll take it away from me. Her hands flicker with flames as she begins to walk towards us. My friends begin to reach for their weapons, but I hold up my hands for everyone to stop. I've kept her talking for this long. I can see her resolve wavering. Besides, after the ends, I don't know if we can handle another fight. So you kill us and finish the portal. What happens next? Hordes of fiends wreaking havoc on the countryside and then the city. You'll forever be bound to a devil. It will claim your soul. It didn't want my soul. It will eventually, and it will claim it. There are other ways to learn magic than dealing with the hells. I just want to keep us safe. You will be putting everyone in danger with this. Charlotte stands in front of us, her hands shaking as magical flame licks at her fingertips. How do we close the portal, Mrs. Fishman? She reaches for her collar again. This is how they are giving me magic. If it was destroyed, the connection would fail. At her words, the portal flares bright and the heat is overwhelming. I cover my face as the blast of heat engulfs the room with a wince. I don't think we have much time. We have to do it now. She grabs the choker and yanks, but it doesn't come free. She gasps as it grows tighter around her neck. I rush to her and pull a dagger from my boot. I need you to hold still and trust me. She nods her head frantically, and I steady her and slice through the leather. The portal flares up so brightly that it hurts my eyes. The necklace is burning to the touch, and I drop to the ground. Mary, can you... Before I can even finish my sentence, she has brought her axe down. I think it's supposed to be dropping the choker, the necklace. The strike flies through, and the gem shatters. The burning heat makes it hard to breathe, and from the portal emerges a large, fiery hand. It reaches towards Charlotte, but I interpose myself between them. I made a promise to keep her safe, and I don't intend on going back on my word. The hand lunges for me. I dart back, but it's faster and grabs my arm. There's a searing pain, and I cry out as it drags me to the portal. Melina! There are strong arms that wrap around me. I've got you, and I'm not letting you go. She grabs the clawed, fiery hand, unafraid of the flames, and yanks it off of me. I fall back into her waiting arms as she holds me close. I bury my head in the crook of her neck to escape the impossible reach. The hand retreats into the portal, and it begins to crumble and break. With a final flash of bright light, the portal goes dark. Breathing hard, we stare at the ruined portal. Pulse of pain makes me wince, and I examine my arm. I suffered worse wounds, but it still stings. Instinctively, I look to Alvaro, but I'm surprised to see him looking lost. Melina reaches out, and there's a swirl of gold dancing between his fingertips. It flickers feebly and vanishes. Grimaces and shakes his hands to try again. His magic blinks out even faster. Now I notice how exhausted he looks, and every time he attempts to draw on his magic, it gets worse. Alvaro, are you okay? He opens his mouth and closes it again. Just hold still. Hands shake with exertion as he summons his magic once more. I pull back despite his noise of protest. You have to tell me what's going on. Zaniri and Nora notice something is off and come join us. Alvaro grunts away and steps back. It's been a long trek to the dungeon, and he's completely drained. I can heal you, I promise. He shakes his hands again as if that would take loose extra magic. I hold up my hand, trying not to wince from the pain. You're exhausted, and you're just going to hurt yourself if you try. But I'm your healer. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm sorry. You're not just a healer. You're our friend, and I want you to be okay. Riley meets my eyes and gives me a nod and a smile. I gets her to my arm. I'll wrap it, and we'll check on it in the morning. I look at Charlotte, who has been quiet. She stands away from us, just staring at her hands. Mrs. Fishman, are you all right? She looks up, exhausted. Her hands tremble at her sides. What happens now? I wish that was it. I can't imagine it's the only portal that's being opened this side of the country. And I don't believe devils are known for broken contracts. She closes her eyes and takes a few long breaths. So what do I do now? It contacted me in my dream. It can reach me again. You should head for Heartcliff. You'll have protection there, and people who are willing to teach magic. She shakes her head. This is our home. It can't uproot our lives. She falls silent, staring at the ruined portal. You've done the right thing. You'll know what the right thing is for your family, too. She flexes her fingers like she's waiting for the flames to spark up again, but they are cold and lifeless. What are you going to tell my husband? She does not meet my eyes. I don't know yet, but we're going to get you home. She nods and stays with us as we leave the dungeon. For our last glance at the ruined portal, I see a few sparks amongst the stones. That's not good. So it feels like we're getting close to the end of this story, but I don't think that's the end of their adventures. I would love to see this continued. Just saying. Leaving the dungeon is thankfully uneventful. Charlotte keeps to herself, staring at her hands, clutching her neck. It's all my stride to walk beside her, and she spares me a glance. I wasn't born with magic, and made no deal for it. I learned it as I learned to make music. You've tapped into the arcane. If that's a path you want to pursue, I think you will be able to find it again. I hope you're right. The fresh air is more than welcome, and I take a deep breath of the evening air. Charlotte stares at the door of the dungeon, worry creasing in features. I saw this door in my dreams almost every night. I thought it would bring me my salvation. She brushes her hands against the stones before she turns away sharply. My friends approach me. Are you going to tell Francis what she did? I'm not sure yet. I could feel the weight of their gaze on me. Why do they always look to me for the answer? What do you think? I glance between the three of them. I feel like I'm making all the decisions, so when I'm talking to everyone, you should be included in the discussions. I don't have all the answers. I've always trusted you to say the right thing. You know how to talk to people. And your decision-making track record has been pretty good. If you were awful at it, it would be a different story. That makes sense. I just wanted to be sure I wasn't forcing you to do things you didn't want to do. Oh, we bet you know. Oh, yes. The question of what to tell Charlotte's husband now weighs heavy in the air around us. We either tell Frances the truth or we cover it up for her. What do you think? Telling the truth feels better, but that's for our own benefit. It could make things worse for them. I would say that Frances deserves to know the truth, but Charlotte does seem regretful. It may only cause further pain. Laura shrugs and glances at the others. You guys are really taking to this whole decision-making thing. Do we tell him or not? You haven't answered. They groan, a cool gust of air whipping around us. Well, would I want to know if my spouse had made a deal with the devil for magical powers? They open their mouths and promptly close it. I guess so. It would suck, though. I try to resist the urge to laugh and fail. Okay, we'll work on making decisions as a group. But for now, I think... Oh, boy. Alright. Dice, don't fail me. What is the decision? Odd number, first option, even number, second option. Oh, 2, we're going to... Bye. So, this is pretty important, so I'm gonna save. We'll tell him Charlotte was kidnapped by devils, but that we kill all of them. It's close to the truth without implicating her. That sounds good to me. If Charlotte wants to tell him the truth later on, then that's her decision. I trust her judgment completely. Good plan, and it gives her a credible reason to want to move to Heartcliff if she wants to learn magic. Ahead of us, Charlotte is heading straight for the town and not bothering to wait for us. Gesture for them to follow, and we head after her. She knows the way home, and before long, we stand in front of her house. She stands still as she stares up at it. It's good to be home. I knock on the front door and wait only a moment before Frances swings it open. Yes? Oh. His gaze falls onto Charlotte and takes a sharp breath in. He takes a cautious step forward and then runs to her. He pulls her into a tight embrace. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I missed you so much, my love. Charlotte wraps her arms around him, burying her head in his shoulder. Eventually, Frances pulls back and glances between us and her. What happened? Is everyone all right? Charlotte waits expectantly. Everyone is all right for the most part. We found Charlotte in a nearby dungeon. Frances looks at her with worry, stroking her hair. There's a group of devils attempting to build a portal from the house there. His eyes go wide and frightened. Devils? Here? And Charlotte? She sucks in a breath and closes her eyes. Charlotte had been taken hostage by them. It was a ritual they made to open the portal. We destroyed the imps and the portal and got her out of there. Frances holds her tightly and then whisper quietly to each other. I'm so glad you're safe. Glances over his shoulder at us. Cannot thank you enough. Please, wait here. I'll bring the money I promised you. Look at Charlotte and remember what she said about that money being almost all their savings. Ooh. This is another one I'm going to save. Okay. Alright, odd number first option, even number second option. 4. Wait, we can't accept. We can't? Shoot them a look and they sigh. Keep the money. I'm just glad we got Charlotte home safe. I don't know if this town will be safe forever. The devils might try to come back. If you found a home in Heartcliff, that money will come in handy. Francis is taken aback, but he nods. You're very kind. May the gods bless you. Give them both a nod and lead them to the reunion. Let's head back to the tavern. I think we could use a break. We return to the Palewood Inn and grab a table. Glance at the door of the tavern. Hey, we could take one of those other jobs posted on the notice board. Who wants to go pick some herbs in the dark? There's a mixture of laughter and groans, and we're all too exhausted to even move out of our seats. I check my hastily bandaged wound, wincing at a dull throb of pain. I remind myself it'll be healed tomorrow, and I slip my arm out of sight from my friends. Zaniri poses the question that's on all our minds. So, what now? We found a portal to the house. Someone should know about this. Someone more important than us. And I don't think that was the only portal either. Do you have any suggestions? Overall shrugs, looking into his drink. Someone from Heartcliff, I guess? Must be someone who can do something about it. Is that our next destination, then? That is where the road leads. Any objections to that plan? I've never been to Heartcliff before, but it'll be fun as long as I'm with you guys. I share the same sentiment. Wherever you go, I'll be by your side. I visited years ago. There might be a few people I can make contact with to help us. That sounds like a good plan. Exhaustion from the long crawl through the dungeon and the fighting wears on me. I'd love to go into bed, but still a little more time before the night comes to an end. Of course, we're going to pull Zaniri aside. Zaniri glances at me from across the table. I think I'm ready to turn in. It's been a long day. It really has. Someone else to keep watch tonight. I'm exhausted. We say goodnight to the other two. Aura throws her arm around Elvoriel's shoulders and orders another drink. Her hand rests comfortably on my back as we head up to our rooms. She leans in the doorway of hers, and I stand in mine, the hallway between us. I faced many dangerous creatures, but I've seen nothing like that portal. There were moments where I thought I could see the other side. She trails off and shakes that thought off. You think there are more? Just a hunch. I could be wrong. I don't think you are. We're doing the right thing by going to Heartcliff. She takes a careful step forward. When that thing tried to drag you in, I was terrified. She fights so furiously in battle. It's hard to imagine her scared of anything. So yeah, let's just enjoy the CC. It's beautiful CC. Okay. I'm scared too. Thank you for getting me out of there. That's what we do. We look out for each other. We meet her in the middle. I'm glad you're alright. I'm glad to know you. She stands so close to me, and she raises her hand tentatively. She brushes her thumb against my cheek and possibly bites. Melina? Her eyes dart across my features, and she swallows. Her voice comes out soft and low. Can I kiss you? I nod, and she leans in. Her lips are warm against my own. Her hand brushes my side. Cover me. I whisper against her lips. You can hold me, you know. I'm not made of glass. I won't break under your touch. That's all she needs. One hand grabs my hip as the other cradles my face. Warm hands, covered in battle scars. She leans in to kiss me again. I carefully navigate around her sharp touch. I feel her smile against my lips. I'm glad to know you too. She pulls me into a tight embrace, and I tuck my head into her neck. I press a kiss there. She rests her forehead against mine. What happens now? Whatever we want. I'll be at your side. She kisses my forehead, and I know she feels the same way. The town of Maple Rest is quiet that evening. The air grows cold, the looming threat of winter seeps in. Another leaf drifts slowly down, joining the large pile beneath the trees. The story of these travelers has just begun, with many more stories to unfold. For now, they have each other and the road beneath their feet. That was lovely. I want to go play it again and try some of the other options. Oh, yes. So I really enjoyed that. The story was very entertaining. It's 20,000 words. That's not quite half nano. So it's not quite novel. But it's still enough to keep you interested. And I didn't want to say it at the time, but I guess that Charlotte was behind the inch during the dungeon crawl. I didn't suspect that she was the one who put up that notice about weird noises from the dungeon, though. So that's one CG unlocked. I'm assuming two of these others are if you choose to go with Alvaro or Aura. So yeah, that was fun. I'm planning to donate money. Not sure what I'll be able to. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you for watching this and making it all the way through. If you enjoyed watching this, you are welcome to watch any of my other videos. from live, not just my live streams of visual novels, but I have made some music videos that are quite old. Well, I wouldn't say quite old, but they're definitely from quite a ways back. On YouTube, I will include a link to the game itself on it, so that you can go find it yourself. It is not an affiliate link. I don't get a commission if you click it. I'm just trying to help these indie developers. And if you want to be notified when I upload more of these, please subscribe. And if you watch these on mobile, make sure to click on allow notifications. And so if you watch this on Twitch, thank you for joining me. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for finding this. And I'm not sure what I'll be playing, what I'll be doing next. I may. I don't know if I'm going to do live stream a game the week of Christmas. It depends on what my family decides to do for Christmas. My twin she moved up to Idaho this summer, and she'll be coming down for a visit on Christmas Eve, and she'll be returning New Year's Eve. She works for a church, so that's basically the only week off she gets at this time of year. So I don't know if we'll be doing other stuff to get ready for her visit or what, but that still leaves next week up in the air. Maybe it's the 29th on this, I don't know. Maybe I'll do another live stream, picking different options. That would be fun. But for now, I hope you guys have a good week, and hope to see you next time. Take care.